3D printing has already changed the face of our hobby forever, but it's also changing the way people make minis, like us. And one of the biggest factors that has kept TTT going as long as it has is our sponsors. And today's video is sponsored by Gears and their new Reflex RS printer. We've actually worked with Gears several times before, showcasing new models we've been producing or how we use 3D printing at the studio. But this time we're going to be exploring the process we use to make the final models for the Space Bears Kickstarter, and show off never before seen models, as well as talk about a new project that could help keep the channel alive for years to come. It's tabletop time. To catch people up to speed, last year Tabletop Time did our first big Kickstarter, the Space Bears. And while the project exceeded our wildest expectations, it also brought with it a bunch of logistical challenges we'd never encountered before. It was effectively the first time we'd gone from content creators to, well, miniatures producers, and we had a lot to learn. Throughout this process, we had one functional 3D printer, the Ultracraft Reflex, and while it did a fantastic job, its time was split between test printing models and also printing models for our videos on the channel. So what's the big deal with all this printing? So when you, the consumer, get a model, it's usually pre-supported like this, and this has been professionally done. It's kind of the industry standard or the expectation. Everything should be set up and ready to go, so you can just slice your file, hit print, and you're good to go. But everything doesn't start that way. Things look different between the render and the real world. Some pieces may require resizing, or the fidelity of detail needs to be changed between printing it and seeing it on the computer. And every one of these little changes requires a test print. Test printing costs time, but it also costs quite a bit of money, not only in consumables, but also in labor. With a single printer printing multi-part models in individual test prints, it can take an entire week just to get a model printed. And that means it's a whole week before you know if you need to go back to the design and make some changes. How about that? Let's get these over to the wash station. And this has been one of our biggest problems in actually delivering the stretch goals for the Space Bears Kickstarter. So that's the stage that we're at. We're consolidating all the things we've learned from our Space Bears Kickstarter as it wraps up and getting ready to move on to the next big thing. Thankfully, our 3D printer woes have been solved thanks to the Reflex RS. For a long time, people have asked us at Tabletop Time what 3D printer we use. And while our Gears Reflex might be the perfect printer for small business enterprises, Gears are now introducing a printer aimed at the consumer. As miniature makers, we often require the perfect fit for tiny parts, and the Reflex RS has excellent layer accuracy, ensuring a seamless fit. And this is all made possible thanks to its C5 grade Z-axis. Personally, another feature of the Reflex RS that I love is how simple it is to get going. All you need to do is set up Blueprint software, connect it to the Wi-Fi, and you'll be printing in under 15 minutes. The Reflex RS is an excellent, high-quality, consumer-grade printer and is available with an early bird price of $7.99 if you use the link in our description. Go check out Gears, let them know we sent you. They're a big supporter of the channel and have been for a long time. Really helps us keep the lights on. So now we know the new printer works, let's put it to work printing our first never before seen models, some of the final stretch goals for the Space Bears Kickstarter. This is the Space Bears tank, and it has probably been the most challenging model in the entire Kickstarter. It's largely due to its, well, massive size and its multi-part nature. We've had to split it down into several parts so it could be printed on everyone's different printers, but this was somewhat mitigated when the Reflex RS arrived because the print bed is bigger than your smaller size consumer grade printers, allowing us to print things like the tracks in full or multiple tracks on the same print bed, which was helpful. But I will also admit that we did try and print this on a previous printer and the quality was atrocious. I won't name who the printer was, but I'll show you the print. This process is definitely an element of creating 3D models for consumption that most people probably don't think about. Large companies and STL releasing Patrons have had many months or even years of experience getting this right. But for content creators diving into this world for their first time, it's definitely been a learning experience and one that's been made easier by having really good 3D printers. And that's why this prototyping process is so important when you're creating anything that other people have to use. You really got to be sure that it's the right size, it can be printed, it fits together nicely, and overall the experience of making it is a pleasurable one. So it's not quite as easy as sculpting something and then just putting it up there for people to print. A little bit more goes into it than that. Thanks to this test printing process, we know we needed to increase the detail, fidelity, and reduce the scale of not only the bear tank, but many of its individual elements as well. There is a second variant of the bear tank, and the one I'm the most excited for, which is a hovercraft chassis, and these will be alternate parts for the treads that have to fit in the same slots, and there'll also be an alternative transport loadout that replaces the turret. Okay, something else I neglected to mention is the resin. So there's something really cool that Gears have done. They've got a new resin. It's the PAS 10 resin. And the main thing about this is it's $33 a litre or a bottle, which is actually affordable. Everything we printed that we showed off today has been done on this resin, and the dimensional accuracy is wild. Like, everything is printing exactly as we're designing it. It's so smooth. It has a really nice finish, and I'm kind of jealous that I don't have one of these printers at home. I'm extremely impressed with the accuracy of the bear print and how well all the parts fit together. And this one is ready to be sent off for supporting and will be available for backers of the Space Bears Kickstarter very soon. But this is not all we have to showcase. We also have the Space Bears Werebear and the Space Bears Biker, both of which have their test prints coming off the printer for the very first time, well, right now.
Okay, it is time for the moment of truth. What do these prints look like? Gently does the peelies. Oh, there we go. Ooh. Ooh. It's kind of satisfying. Nice and crisp. All right, I'm impressed so far. I don't see any deformations or such things. More supports is better than less. Ooh. That came off super easy. If I'm going to say anything about Gears, is that I really like the contact point for their supports. They're really, really light in contact, but numerous enough that they hold on to the objects. Like, this is solid resin. It probably shouldn't be, and that held on like that. There we go. Fits together nicely, and it's pretty good considering it's in two halves, literally in two halves, but it's not perfect. So we might look at how it's currently connected, see if there's a nicer way that we can avoid just a big seam down the middle of the tank. Otherwise, it's pretty good. I'm happy with that. The larger a piece is when it's printed in resin, the more likely it is to not be absolutely perfectly square. As with Forge World, which is always fun to dunk on for this sort of thing, the large kits get, the more inaccurate they're going to be naturally. That's basically the same with any large kit. So this is always part of the design brief. This is, of course, as we want to say, not the final product. We are actually literally still testing this. This is a good test print to find out what works, what doesn't, and get our sculptors to make amendments if we want. And there's no nodules to let people know how or where this can attach, but there's a little step, so that lines up like that. So that's pretty cool. All the various little hatches and things, they fit on nicely. The turret, there's a little bit of an allowance for things to wobble around a little bit while you're gluing them in, so they might not be perfectly square. Again, I'm being pedantic here, but it's our right to be pedantic. We want to make something cool and that people like. What else have we got? Man Bear Pig. No, just Man Bear. He's got a little grenade launcher. Looks hilariously at odds with the Primal Man with Big Club, but hey, he is now loaded for bear. I also just noticed that he's actually got the Space Bears sigil in his club. Haha! The Skidoo-mobile. I have not seen this in any state, so this is as novel for me as it might be for you. Oh. Oh, yeah. Peeling off supports never gets old. It's got little paws for the skis themselves. Seating man, go in seat. Ooh. Well, that just slid in. You know that something has actually been designed pretty well when the place it's supposed to slot into actually just sort of goes clunk. Points for that. This, I think, is the nicest fit I'm happy with so far. The backpack is very close. Like, it's basically resting on the seat here. I see this with a lot of kits, not just ours, but if you want to, just have a bit of variance, turn the body a little bit, you're going to get the exhausts are going to bang against that. We might see if we can allow a bit more wriggle room there. So there's a hole right there. He connects like this. Okay, so far, that's really positive. I'm liking how this is turning out. So let's give you a little bit of a nicer look, shall we? Clean reveals!
Oh, a little reminder, by the way, everyone, the Space Bears Kickstarter is, well, almost completely fulfilled. These things we're finishing are some of the last models for the entire Kickstarter, and the late backer bundle is only going to be available until all the stretch goals are fulfilled. So if you would like to get the discounts and the extra value that's still available there, you better go do that now, because once we fulfill everything, the late backer bundle is going away, and nothing will be this cheap ever again. So yeah, just a thought. Go head over to the website if you want the Space Bears. It's been great finally getting to show off some of the upcoming Space Bears. The immense support we received through the Space Bears Kickstarter has kept us going through a few lean months. And we want to support the continued work of Tabletop Time by creating some products that will become like the third pillar of how we keep the channel standing. And we hope to do that with the ongoing release of 3D printed products and some physical products in the future. But for now, I want to share you one more whip that's Space Bears related. We have a special early version of the Space Bears flyer. Come on, have a look. We hope you like the whip of our chunky Arctic attack craft for the Space Bears. It will be aiding the Muckle Marines in their alpine assaults very soon on a table near you. But for now, we need to do the size tests and fits and see how all the detail looks in reality. So we got to get this over to our Reflex RS and get it printing. Now, as I promised at the very start of the video, it's time to show you a sneak peek at a completely new upcoming project. So we're really excited to share this with you. This is concept art that Alicia has done of the very first faction in the little world we're building here on Tabletop Time. These horrific 20,000 leagues under the sea bastards would be perfect for people fighting in the voids of space or the depths of the sea. We've got a lot of ideas for this faction and how they can fit into a world of miniatures that we're looking to start creating. These will actually be coming to a Kickstarter in, well, a few months once the Space Bears Kickstarter is fully wrapped up, and I'm extremely excited about them. I've wanted to make something like this for so long. We're working with Golden Dragon Games to sculpt them, and it's going to be really exciting, and I cannot wait to share a bunch more with you. As you can see, they're going to be a pretty gnarly faction, and we're going to be including all of you in the process because we have 5 more concepts, so we're going to be putting a community poll out, and you can vote on which one you think we should develop next. It'd be really helpful to get your feedback and what you think so far, what you think would be interesting, and yeah, let's do it. Thank you, patrons, for your support. Excitedly, we'd like to announce that the Nerdforge video we did last week, we actually have an extended cut of available for patrons. So if you're interested in joining up, that is a very big incentive to do so. The cut has about an extra 10 minutes of footage in it, all the stuff that we basically couldn't fit into the narrative of a YouTube video without it getting a bit messy. And as we're back in Australia, I can now continue my massive list of new patrons with a bird has got in the studio. Zack Attack 10, Robbie Findley, Claire W, Dingus Supreme, Energized, Vilius, Stuart Taylor, Simon Thomas, Barkham, Hans Eck, Jean Franken, Klaas Broberg, Sid Draff, Confused 2, Bryson Bentley, Brandon Arna, Aaron Hart, Monster Painter, Dan Smith, Oren Malifant, Nagaraja, Adan Medina, William Wesley, Evil Joe, Emerald, Nightwind, Zen, Alexander Kinney, Blake Moore, Amar, Jeff Griffin, Animation Destination, Nicholas Choquette, Evan Hobbs, Celeste Chinchilla, Moritz Borchard, Reese Bruton, Craig, Connor Kimbley, Fritty91, William Lyles, Oliver Robson, and Apollo 75, BC, Katie Carson, Milo 87, Eric, Danny P, Canuck Chuck, Dude Stupid, Alexander Swag, Emily Hogue, Board 269, Avocado, Max Chris 21, Felix the Cat, Chris Clark, Ed Allen, Smithing Bear, Shadow of Intent, and Boba Fett DK. Thank you once again, patrons, and there'll be more names in the next video. So we hope you've enjoyed this video, and we hope you're excited for our upcoming minis and a little glimpse into how we produce minis and how Hey Gears, our sponsor, has helped us do that.
3D printing is a hobby, and a lot of people don't think of it like that. They think it's just an accessory to Warhammer or whatever hobby they do, but it's its own thing. And if you're like me and 3D printing isn't your primary hobby, you would prefer like the easiest route of access to that possible. The most simple, the one that gets out of your way and just lets you click print. And for us in the studio, Gears has definitely been that. It's a step above any of the other printers we've used, and really like them. So thank you for supporting us. Thank you for watching the video. Check out our other videos. Next week we've got something really cool happening. Another little collab sort of boiling away. I'm excited to share with you all. I'll give you a hint. Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Anyway, see you soon.